In the biggest confirmation to date, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed to invade Rafah, stating that Israel would enter the area to destroy Hamas's battalions with or without a deal. Rafah has been a shelter for hundreds of thousands of Palestinians since the war began almost 7 months ago. This comes at a time when the US Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, has arrived in Tel Aviv to help move forward with the truce negotiations, which are currently in a crucial stage. The agreement aims to secure the release of hostages, provide some relief to the population, and prevent an Israeli attack on Rafah. However, before his visit, Blinken had made it clear where the US stands regarding the proposed Israeli operation in Rafah.
Look, our views on Rafah, I think, are very well known. The President's been very clear about it. I've been clear about it and repeated it as recently as yesterday. Where our focus is right now, along with the humanitarian effort, our focus right now is on getting a ceasefire and hostages home. That is the most urgent thing. And it's also, I think, what is achievable because the Israelis have put a strong proposal on the table. They've demonstrated that they're willing to compromise. And now it's on Hamas.
There are mounting expectations for Hamas to accept the proposed deal. According to John F. Kirby, the U.S. National Security Council's coordinator for strategic communications, the deal on the table is a favorable one for Hamas, and they should not hesitate to accept it.
This is a good proposal. It's a really good proposal, and Hamas ought to jump at it. And time is of the essence. I can't put a deadline on it here and tell you that if it doesn't happen in X number of hours or X number of days, that's it. We're not going to give up. We've said it from the beginning about getting these hostages home and about getting this temporary ceasefire in place. That effort's not going to just stop.
The recurring appeals for ceasefire got a bigger boost with United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres appealing to the Israeli government and the leadership of Hamas to reach a ceasefire agreement. Guterres' comments come as the top UN court earlier concluded that there is a plausible risk of genocide in Gaza, a charge Israel strongly denies.
Nearly 7 months after 7 October, the situation for people in Gaza is worsening by the day. I've called consistently for a humanitarian ceasefire, the immediate and unconditional release of all hostages, and a massive surge in humanitarian aid. Unfortunately, that has not happened yet. But negotiations are once again underway. For the sake of the people of Gaza, for the sake of the hostages and their families in Israel, and for the sake of the region and the wider world, I strongly encourage the government of Israel and Hamas leadership to reach now an agreement.
However, the UN Secretary-General also criticized Israel's proposed operation in Rafah. He stated that an assault in Rafah would be an unbearable escalation in the area.
Recent weeks have seen airstrikes on the Rafah area. A military assault on Rafah would be an unbearable escalation, killing thousands more civilians and forcing hundreds of thousands to flee. It would have a devastating impact on Palestinians in Gaza, with serious repercussions on the occupied West Bank and across the wider region.
The Rafah offensive confirmation and ceasefire talks are coinciding with the Israeli leadership is facing a pressing issue: the possibility of the International Criminal Court issuing arrest warrants against them. Although Israeli officials have expressed their concerns, the ICC has not yet made any statement or indicated the likelihood of warrants being issued. In response, Netanyahu has urged world leaders to support Israel's inherent right of self-defense and stand firmly against the threats posed by the ICC.
Clearly, this threat by the ICC is not an attempt to enforce the law. Israel is not even subject to the court's jurisdiction, and it has an independent legal system that rigorously investigates all violations of the law. Rather, this ICC attempt is an attempt to paralyze Israel's very ability to defend itself, rather than commend Israel for abiding by the rules of war while fighting an enemy that violates every rule of war, including holding 133 Israeli men, women, and children hostage. Who's the ICC targeting? The democracy called Israel.
The U.S. State Department has voiced support for Israeli leadership on the ICC rumors. The State Department spokesperson said that the ICC has no jurisdiction over this issue.
We do not believe that the ICC has jurisdiction over this issue. And that's what the crux here. Beyond that, I'd let the Prime Minister and officials within the Israeli government clarify or offer any commentary on his comments. But the crux of this for the United States is that we do not believe that the ICC has jurisdiction on this. That being said, we work closely with the ICC in a number of key areas. We think that they do important work as it relates to Ukraine, Darfur, Sudan. But again, on this particular instance, they just do not have jurisdiction.
Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken met hostage demonstrators outside the Kempinski Hotel in Tel Aviv before he left for Jerusalem on Wednesday. Blinken assured families that the time is now for an agreement that would free hostages and bring a pause in the nearly 7 months of war in Gaza. He has said Hamas would bear the blame for any failure to get a deal off the ground.
I just had an opportunity to meet with some of the families of some of the hostages, as I have on every visit to Israel. Of course, President Biden is now and I just wanted to share with you what I just shared with them. Bringing their loved ones home is at the heart of everything we're trying to do.
Chanting SOS, USA, only you can save the day. The protesters urged Blinken to make their case to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his war cabinet.
It was very, very important because it's the last, I believe that it's the last chance to bring some of the hostages back. He's very honest, he was very honest, and he said that there are limited power.
SOS